Derek from More Plates, More Dates, Kino Body, Coach Greg, Jim Stepani, etc., etc. All these guys are promoting their pre-workout and saying that it's going to give you massive gains in the gym compared to any other pre-workout. I'm here today to tell you to not buy any of these pre-workouts or any pre-workout at all. And instead, I'm going to show you a way to handle your supplementation that's going to save you boatloads of money as well as increase your gains from the supplementation.
This is my dream, time to manifest it. Hey, I've been starving on my demon slay like anorexic. Why you present? Stop with all the questions, time I teach a lesson.
So let's get into it. There are 5 reasons why you should never buy a pre-made pre-workout again. Number 1 is they include incorrect ingredients or ingredients that are simply not backed by science. You saw it in the Derek More Plates, More Dates video from this channel when we talked about Canna. Canna just simply isn't backed by science. So they include it, which increases the cost of the pre-workout, but it's really not giving you any benefit. And then the second point under this reason is the fact that they don't include ingredients that do have scientific benefit, namely creatine. If you look at a lot of pre-made pre-workouts, creatine is not included. And while you don't actually have to take creatine prior to your workout, many people are taking pre-workout thinking that they have all the supplements they need, minus maybe some whey protein, when in reality, they're actually missing out on some major supplements that actually have proven scientific benefit, aka creatine, or maybe some other ones that have more marginal benefit that's still proven, such as beta-alanine or citrulline. The second main reason why you should never buy a pre-made pre-workout is they include ingredients at incorrect dosages. If you've watched my other videos on supplementation, you know that all of these supplements are scientifically studied and proven to work at a certain effective dose. If you look at the ingredients included in these pre-workouts, you'll see that the dosing is often half of what it should be compared to the scientific studies. So if you're just taking 1 scoop mindlessly of the pre-workout, you're not going to be getting the correct amount of the ingredients, even if they are proven to work. So for example, if you look at C4, it includes 1 gram of L-citrulline and 1.6 grams of beta-alanine. And C4 is just a crazy example because it's a terrible pre-workout, but it's a good example to talk about for this scenario. 1 gram of L-citrulline and 1.6 grams of beta-alanine are almost 5 times less than what you actually need to actually get an effective dose of these supplements. So you need to take 5 scoops in order to actually get the correct amount of the individual ingredients. And also on that point of incorrect dosing, the dose is partly determined by how heavy you are, what your body weight is. For instance, a smaller 50 kilogram female won't need as much supplement as a larger 100 kilogram male. However, these pre-workouts have set dosing for 1 scoop, so it's difficult to actually get the correct dosing based on your body weight. So even if you have a great pre-workout that actually avoids problems 1 and 2 that we just talked about, they're not going to be able to avoid the next 3 reasons I'm going to talk about. So reason number 3 is pre-workouts that are pre-made are not customized to your needs. This is a huge point, and I talk about it in all the supplement review videos that I've done, and that is that certain supplements work better for certain situations or certain exercises. For instance, creatine is really going to help people that are exercising with sets that are less than 20 seconds, which honestly is most of you in the gym, and that's why I always recommend creatine to people. Versus beta-alanine is going to only work for people that are only exercising for sets greater than 20 to 30 seconds, which is honestly not most people in the gym. Versus citrulline works greater for less than 20-second exercises. HMB only works if you're in a severe caloric deficit and not getting enough protein. And then also Canna is really only going to maybe see an effect if you're super anxious from caffeine. So as you can see, all of these certain supplements are only useful in certain situations. So if you're a person who is only doing 20-second or less exercises, creatine and maybe citrulline and caffeine are going to be the only supplements that really help you. Versus if you're an individual who's doing a lot of HIIT training or sets that are lasting greater than 30 seconds, beta-alanine will certainly help you. All of that to say, these pre-workouts have a certain set of supplements that are included in them, and it's not changeable. So you're taking a scoop and just hoping that that pre-workout was made for you, when in reality it probably wasn't. So essentially, if you take one of these pre-workouts, you're either 1, wasting money by using supplements that are not actually helping your specific situation, Or two, you're leaving gains on the table because the pre-workout you're using is not including the supplements that you specifically need. Reason number 4 is you have no daily flexibility for your supplementation. You take 1 scoop of pre-workout every time before you work out, and those are your supplements for the day. A great example of why this is so detrimental to your supplementation routine is creatine. So first off, creatine works best with the loading phase. If you watched or listened to that podcast that I have out, you'll see that the loading phase allows you to saturate the muscles with creatine faster, which allows you to get to the effect of creatine faster. However, with these pre-workouts that have creatine in them, you're not going to be able to get that loading phase of creatine, which is essentially 4 to 5 times what the maintenance dose is, or at least 4 to 5 times what's included in the pre-workout. If you wanted to get that loading phase from a pre-workout, you'd be taking 5 scoops of pre-workout, which is just simply not safe, as you're going to be taking an excess of caffeine and other stimulants. Also, creatine has been shown to be better absorbed when taken with carbs and protein or taken at meal times. You're simply not going to be taking a pre-workout at meal times. Instead, you're probably taking it pre-workout. Also, creatine should be taken every day, not just pre-workout. So you should be taking it 7 days a week instead of maybe just the 4 or 5 times a week that you train. But the other supplements that are in the pre-workout, you don't need to take every day. The caffeine and the other stimulants, those ingredients really should only be taken pre-workout. So you really need to be able to tease out taking certain supplements every day, taking ones just before you work out, and you're simply not able to do this by taking 1 scoop of pre-workout that has everything combined in it. And then finally, on this flexibility piece, if your situation changes month to month, so for instance, if you want to go into severe caloric deficit, HMB might be beneficial for that month that you're in a severe caloric deficit. Then you hop out of that caloric deficit, and now HMB is not going to be as beneficial. You can now take that out of your supplementation routine and save more money. Or for instance, maybe you want to include a lot of HIIT training, sets that are greater than 30 seconds for a month. Well, maybe you would benefit from taking beta-alanine in that month, and then the next month maybe you only do the strength training that beta-alanine won't benefit, then you don't take it. So by taking a pre-workout in which everything is the same every day and month after month, you're not going to be able to actually tailor your supplementation routine to your specific situation. Reason number 5 why you should never take a pre-made pre-workout is they are extremely expensive. Let's look at the ones we mentioned at the beginning of this video and a couple more to demonstrate this point. Gorilla Mind from More Plates, More Dates is $50 for 20 true servings. And I say true servings because if you look at what is marketed, it'll say includes 40 servings. But then you look at the nutrition facts and what you see is that in order to actually get the correct dosing, you need to take 2 scoops. So it's actually only 20 servings for $50. So you're looking at $2.50 per day. Next is Keto Octane. It's $44.95 for 21 servings. However, it does not contain creatine. These servings though actually are correct, which is great to see, but that still is $2.14 per day, and you also are not getting the most proven supplement, which is creatine. Next, let's look at Coach Greg's pre-workout. That's $54.95 for a true 25 servings about. That amounts to $2.20 per day. Jim's pre-workout is $65 for 20 servings, so it's the most expensive. It's $3.25 a day. It does include a lot of great ingredients though, and those true servings are what is marketed, so kudos to Jim. And finally, let's look at a couple that aren't marketed by these fitness influencers. Ghost is $44.95 for a true about 18 servings. Again though, not including creatine, and it's still $2.50 a day without the most proven supplement. And finally, what I already mentioned as being one of the most terrible pre-workouts on the market, it is marketed as being pretty cheap, right? It's $30 for supposedly 30 servings. But again, when you actually look at what's included, you would need about 5 scoops of this pre-workout to actually get any benefit from the dosing that's included. So really we're looking at about $5 per day, as it really only contains about 6 true servings for those $30. So these are all pretty expensive, but why am I thinking that that's expensive? It's all relative, right? Well, I have another way that's going to save you so much money, and we're going to get into that with what you should do to handle your supplementation instead of taking a pre-workout. and that is this. You should buy supplements individually, the ones that are actually going to benefit you, and that way you can have the correct dosing, the correct supplements, and you can do it for much cheaper. By doing this, you're actually going to avoid all those 5 pitfalls that we just talked about. You're going to include the correct ingredients, only supplements that are backed by science. 2, you're going to be able to include the correct dosing because you specifically are measuring out the dose for every single supplement that you buy in bulk. 3, you're going to be able to choose supplements that are based on your specific situation. Are you a strength athlete that's not doing any HIIT training? Well, then you only need creatine, citrulline, and caffeine maybe. Are you someone that's doing HIIT training? Well, then you can add beta-alanine into that. Are you someone that's in a caloric deficit? Add HMB. Are you someone who struggles with high blood pressure? Then definitely include citrulline. You can really modify based on your specific situation and get a ton of benefit by doing so. And 4, it avoids the problem with flexibility because obviously if you have all these individual supplements, you can take them all as needed at different times of the day. You can do the loading phase while still not having to take 1,000 milligrams of caffeine in order to get that max dose of creatine. You're really able to be flexible with your supplementation, change it on a day-to-day or month-to-month basis, and you're really going to maximize your gains that way. And finally, I already mentioned this, it's going to save you a lot of money. Let's look at this by the numbers. If you're to get all these supplements on my favorite website, which is Bulk Supplements, I have no deal with them. It's just, frankly, the best way to get these supplements in my opinion. Let's look at getting a kilogram of each of these supplements, so buying it a little bit in bulk, but not too much, and seeing how much that's going to cost us per day. So creatine for a kilogram is $55.96 on Bulk Supplements. That is 200 servings of 5 grams a day, which is the correct dosing, and that is 28 cents per day. Caffeine is $12.96 for 120 doses of 200 milligrams. So for caffeine, that would be on the very low end. So let's even bump it up. Let's say you want to get 400 milligrams per day. That would be 22 cents per day at that price. Beta-alanine for a kilogram is $25.96, and that is for 1,000 grams. If you want to take 5 grams a day, which is well within the 3.2 to 6.4 grams that you need per day, you're going to be costing 0.13. And then for citrulline, for 1 kilogram, it's $44.96. And that you need about 6 grams per day. We talked about that in the previous video. That amounts to 27 cents a day. And finally, HMB, $56.96 for a kilogram. Because you need 3 grams per day, that amounts to 17 cents a day. So I just listed 5 supplements that are scientifically proven to have some benefit in certain scenarios. If you are somehow fitting all of those scenarios, you maybe have high blood pressure to get that citrulline effect. You maybe are in an extreme caloric deficit, not getting enough protein to get HMB's effect. You're working strength very heavily. You want to get creatine's effect. Caffeine pretty much works for everyone. And then also you're doing the HIIT training. You want to get the beta-alanine's effect. If you wanted all of those supplements, you are only going to be spending $1.07 a day. That's less than half of every single other pre-workout we just talked about. And sometimes it's almost 3 times as less. So you're going to be saving a boatload of money by doing it this way. You're going to be maximizing your gains by actually getting the supplements you need in the correct dosing. And also you're going to be able to be flexible with this, change it up as needed, and modify your dosing based on if you're working out or if you're not working out that day. So next steps, again, don't buy these pre-made pre-workouts. Go figure out how these supplements work and if they're going to benefit you, which you can do by checking out the videos that I have on all the supplements I just mentioned. You can check them out in the description below. Learn if they're going to help you, and then go buy them in bulk. You're going to save a bunch of money, and you're not going to be wasting it on pre-made pre-workouts that include ingredients that don't help or include ingredients at incorrect dosings. For any questions you might have, drop them in the comment section below. I'd love to have a discussion there. Also, leave which supplement you want to talk about next, and I can make a video on that next. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the support. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, I will see you all next session.